Hello, today I'm going to go over some really fun ways that you can embed assessment into your lessons when you're working with your students who are alternately assessed on the Math Essential Element 30A.4, which is solving addition and subtraction problems when the result is unknown. This assessment obviously can be utilized throughout multiple essential elements, but just for the sake of showing you some examples, I'm going to go through a math example, and I'm going to show you the website called plickers.com. And plickers.com used to be a way that students could engage in game-based learning in the classroom, and recently they included an e-learning feature. It's a really great way to still practice playing these types of games and actually embed some assessment into your lessons. This can be used as a pre and a post assessment. You can use it just as a formative assessment as you're going through your lesson. It's really great feature, and it's done in a game-based way that your students won't even know that they're getting assessed. So I really love using it. It's super, super simple, especially since they have the new feature of e-learning. It's really great. So we're going to go through some of that, and I'm going to show you how easy it is when you log in. It's completely free to use. I haven't upgraded in anything that I'm using here. You don't have to do that to play the game and have your students engage in this game and do it in the virtual classroom. So you'll see this will be your home page when you log in, and you can add new classes. They give you a demo class to mess around with. And then you can have a class that you create, right? So when you click on whatever class it is that you're on, it'll bring you to different things. So let's click on the class that I created. And if you scroll all the way down, here's where you can see all of your e-learning information. And they give you videos that you can access. If you have more questions and you want to get started with it, it literally walks you straight through. It's fantastic. It's a really great resource. But you can write down here, you can edit your students, you can add students, you can put in their names. And then you'll see when you start to add students, you'll get these little links down here through myplickers.com. And these will all be unique to your students. So any game they play, they will always have this link, which is fantastic. And so you can copy the link and just drop it in a chat, whether you're using Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams or Zoom, whatever your school is using. You can just drop that right in there, or you can bulk copy and it can email every single student's information. I prefer to just drop it individually to my students. That works easier for my students in particular, or if I have any parents that are working with any of my students or paraprofessionals. So again, super, super simple to have them access it. All they have to do is click on it. They don't have to do anything extra. It's fantastic. So I really love that feature. I love that they added an e-learning feature to Plickers. It's a great way to play some games, but get information and data while you're doing it. So let's go through, and we're going to work on a set that I created. It's a very short set. We're just going to go through so you can kind of get an idea of what your students will see and what you'll see as the teacher. So I created an addition set. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this little play now. And this is what you'll see from the teacher screen. And so all your students will see is this slide right here. And then they will be able to use their device to click on their answer. And then all of your answers will start lining up over here. You can see my students are offline right now, but any answers that they have will start to be populated over here. However, you will not be getting any answers unless you click on this button. So what I really like about this feature is it embeds some wait time. It embeds time for your students to process what it is you're asking them, to look at the information and make some predictions. So I think that that's a really awesome feature of Plickers. You actually have the time to wait and have your students scan what it is they're looking at it, and they're able to process and think about what the question is asking them. And oftentimes in the classroom, we're able to do that, but when we're online or we're going through games, it's so fast and so quick, and that could be really challenging for some of our alternately assessed students. So I think this feature is fantastic. So once you click on this button down here, then your students will be able to start giving their answers. So you have a way to kind of slow down what's happening, and I think that that's an absolutely amazing feature. So here you'll see I wrote out my question in text. I only have 2 choices, right? You can go up to 4 choices, you'll see. And then I embedded an image, right? So I can use this as my pre-assessment, my entry slip. Putting parts together to make a whole is called. Kind of gave them some cues over here with my image, and they can choose between addition or subtraction. So move along, and this kind of gives you a highlight for what's coming next so you're prepared. And again, this is your teacher screen. All your students will see is this page right here. So then we have a little bit of a question, 3 plus 3 equals. Once again, I gave my students a bit of a cue, and then they would have to pick their answers. Moving on, what keyword tells you to add? And I gave them a cue. Here are my choices. And finally, I gave them another question, and you can embed an image right from Boardmaker, right? So you can screenshot what it is you have in Boardmaker if you want to support your students who are using AAC devices, and then they can do things like having a true or false question, right? So I really like all these features of Plickers. I think it's fantastic. Again, I really like the option of scanning the information with your students before you allow them to answer. I think it's just a really great feature. If you click on this e-learning, you'll see that you can go between a hybrid mode, an e-learning mode, or that in-person mode, right? So very easy to access, very cool to go between the different options so that even when we go back into the classroom, you can still utilize this feature. So let's go through and I'm going to show you how you can create a set. It's super simple. We're going to go in, we're going to edit the set that we were just going through now so that you can see all the different options when you are creating a set. But you can also click on here and discover sets that people have created already. So if you go in here, you'll see there's a ton of different information. There's so many different options. A bunch of people have created already. You can go in, you can play those with your students if they're appropriate, or you can just create your own. And when you click on this new set here, this is what will pop up. And it's that slide that your students will see. You'll have a text box. You can add an image right here, right? It will go into your actual documents. And then here they start off with 4 multiple choice, and you can make it a true or false if you want. So let's go into my current set that we just went through. We're going to edit this so you can check it out, right? Super simple to edit. So you'll see right here, here was my text box. I added my picture. You can take out that picture and add in a different one. Super simple, right? Very easy to do. And then you have your choices down here. And you simply just click on whichever one is correct. And if you wanted to add more choices, you just go right up here for more options, and then you can click and add more. So say we wanted to add in multiplication, we could do that, right? So then that would add in another option. Again, don't forget to mark the correct one, and you can also take those away. So super simple to do, super simple to make the field as small as you need, right? So really great options. Now here, you'll see again, I embedded my image. You just go right here when you want to insert an image, and then you have room for your text box, and you can take them away, you can add them in, and add as many options for questions as you want. So again, here we had 3 choices to choose from. Here's my question, my image, and here's the one where I embedded my Boardmaker icon, right? I took a picture of my Boardmaker page, and I wanted them to have that chance to go through and, like when we were in that scan mode, be able to actually count that out to determine, is it true or is it false? You know, if you wanted to change this to yes, or maybe they know the word correct, right, instead of true and false, you can change those as well, right? So now when you want to add more questions, it's very simple. You just go right up here to this new question, you click on it, and it brings you right there to that blank slide again. So you can edit your question, type in whatever you want, add that image if you're over here, keep it as a multiple choice, and get rid of however many options you want. If you only want 2 options, it always gives you a 50-50, right? Or you can set that as a true or false, right? And if you needed to change those words, you just go right in and you can type over it, and then it tells you very simply. It kind of prompts you through everything. It tells you whether or not to mark it. It's a really great feature. So then when you go through and you play with your students, it's presented, this assessment is presented in a game-based way. So you can really use this for any subject. It's really great to utilize. I really like that there's so many different options that you can search for. You can go into math. I mean, you can go into ELA. There's a ton of different information. There's so many subjects you can choose from. And it can give you some different ideas for how to create your own Plickers. So I hope you can use this. I hope your students enjoy it, and it's a fun way to get a ton of data from your students and also embed that assessment and not make it arduous for them, right? It's a game-based assessment, and they have no idea, and they have fun, and you have fun doing it too.